the last few weeks have been challenging. The last few weeks have changed, in many respects, the focus of this nation, not just this state. But I want you to know and be assured that our focus remains very, very, very direct at addressing the issue of the spread of COVID-19 and cognizant of the fact that we are by no stretch of the imagination out of the woods, and we continue to have a lot of work to do. We've long talked about the fact that localism ultimately is determinative, that we recognize local conditions are distinct and unique from one another. And we recognize that conditions in far reaches of California and northern parts of the state are very different than in the San Francisco Bay Area, very different than the Los Angeles region. And accordingly, we have afforded the ability for local health directors working collaboratively with their hospital systems, working collaboratively with advocates, and working, of course, very collaborative with their elected officials to make determinations for themselves on when to move forward through our phased-in approach. As many of you have heard me say in the past, we put up guidelines, but guidelines don't mean go. We put up guidelines that create a framework of how we believe we can reopen the economy safely, but we don't prescribe when. We maintain, because of the size, scope, and scale of the state of California, that those decisions should be made with local lens. Those decisions should be made by allowing and advancing localism to be the thrust and the guide to ultimately making the determination of when to move forward through these phases in safely reopening the economy throughout the state of California. We look at hospitalization rates, and they remain stable. ICU rates, the blue line you see below the hospitalization, remain stable. What I mean by stability is over a 14-day period. Just to give a proof point, ICU numbers are flat. And when I say flat, I mean quite literally over a 14-day period have increased by 0.0%. They haven't increased at all over a 14-day period. In fact, yesterday they decreased by 2.1%, the day before by roughly 3%. So a trend line over a 14-day period that is holding stable, and you can see from that blue line, this extends well beyond just that 14-day period. It also extends through two important dates. You see on the slide, May 8th. That's when we began to modify, in a significant way, our stay-at-home order in the state of California. There was some sense that the hospitalization numbers would begin to increase, certainly anticipated positivity numbers to increase as we saw more mixing, more people that were out and about as we reopened the economy. But the good news is the ICU numbers remain fairly stable. The second number is Memorial Day. A lot of folks were out and about on Memorial Day, and you can see, again, the trend line remains remarkably stable.